spinning. Why are your tax dollars spin again? Why your tax dollars are funding new missiles? The politician versus the war machine.
The same way we say it has a budget surplus if it quote-unquote saves money or when expenses are lower than government revenue. You usually hear deficits being presented as a percentage of a country's gross domestic product, and the values seem pretty low. Unfortunately, that's quite misleading because as explained in another video, the GDP is what we all accomplish together as participants in the economy, whereas government revenue is just a percentage of that. To simplify, we'll assume the GDP of a country is $100 billion and that the revenue it actually collects is $25 billion, so 25% of the GDP. Next, let's say the deficit for that year was 4% of the country's GDP, which doesn't sound high if you put it like that. However, it looks worse if you compare it to the government revenue value. A deficit of $4 billion means that $25 billion were collected but $29 spent. In other words, that a country spent 16% more than it collected, which doesn't exactly sound sustainable, especially since that money has to usually be borrowed, thereby increasing the national debt. Deficit spending is one of the most politically charged topics in economics, and while we don't yet know for sure whether it's good, bad, or somewhere in between, this video helps you properly understand the terminology so that you can be an informed observer in political-economic debates.
25 billion. That's the single line item in the brand new fiscal year 2026 National Defense Authorization Act, just for rebuilding America's missile arsenal. PRSMS, Javelins, Tomahawks, LR, ASMs, the exact weapons the Pentagon says we'll need if China moves on Taiwan. This is your money. Every single taxpayer in this country is funding it. And one congresswoman who has built her entire brand on being a fiscal and conservative waist cutter and a champion of working families just voted yes on a whole $900 billion package. Why? Today we expose a military political pipeline. Meet Rep. Marie Gluesenkamp Perez, Washington's 3rd District Blue Dog Democrat, self-described fiscal conservative. She ran on cutting government waste, protecting small businesses, and making sure every taxpayer dollar is spent wisely. She's the one who pushed the right to repair amendments.
I wanted to talk a little bit today about a subject that will not surprise you, right to repair. It's one of the primary reasons that I ran for office. And, I ran an auto repair and machine shop with my husband before coming here. And, a lot of us feel in this country that we are being turned into a class of permanent renters without the agency to fix our own stuff.
Global justification. Chinese Navy in the South China Sea. Hypersonic missile tests. Taiwan Strait map. Israeli Iron Dome intercepts U.S. submarines. Ha. The official story is straightforward and scary. The Pentagon and the bill sponsors says this money is non-negotiable. China is building ships faster than we can scrap them. Our munition stockpiles are dangerously low after Ukraine and the Middle East. The $25 billion munition surge plus $26 billion in new shipbuilding is the bare minimum to deter Beijing and keep allies from folding. They point to the Taiwan Security Cooperation Initiative, fully funded at $1 billion. New basin in the Philippines and accelerated Columbia-class submarine construction. On paper, it sounds like pure national security. Peace through strength. But every dollar has a domestic address. The domestic pivot, the politician.
But we didn't ask ourselves why the demand for chips has gone up so much. Did anyone ask for a washing machine that plays Tchaikovsky? They did not. My washing machine is from 1997. Think about how much wealth that's created. The average appliance today, I think the data is like life expectancy of 3 years. And so do not turn the American country into a nation of beggars petitioning for their right to fix their own stuff. Affirm that we are a nation of people who make things, who are skilled and believe in agency. Affirm the rights that we've always had, because time is running out on this issue.
Senate Democrats blocked a measure to fund the Department of Homeland Security on Thursday as lawmakers remained locked in a standoff that could shut down the agency this Saturday. Many senators left town Thursday for a 10-day break after casting their final votes. Nearly all DHS workers will remain on the job during the shutdown, but many won't get paid until a funding bill is approved. Senate Majority Leader John Thune, a Republican, said after the vote that a shutdown appeared likely and that the people who are not going to be getting paychecks will pay the price. In the wake of 2 high-profile shootings in Minneapolis, Democrats are demanding reforms in immigration enforcement operations. President Trump said Thursday some of the Democratic demands would be very, very hard to approve. Lawmakers could be called back to Washington to vote if Democrats strike a deal with the White House.
She's the one who pushed the right to repair amendment so soldiers can fix their own equipment instead of waiting on bloated contractors. She votes against bloated spending bills. She talks like a taxpayer first, politician second. Yet, on December 10th, 2025, she voted yes on the largest defense authorization in history. The same bill that authorizes $25 billion in new missiles, $26 billion in shipbuilding, and billions more in programs that just happen to employ thousands of people in her home state. This is the pivot every voter needs to see. Campaign trail, fiscal hawk becomes defense bill supporter. The moment the money flows home.
No, so crazy as you look.
I told you, I'm a man of my word. Where's the Italian?
All tactical units will converge on the location in 20 minutes. I want auxiliary units to cover all possible getaway routes.
Wait. Dr. Man, what do you do with all your money?
You see, I'm a guy of simple taste. I enjoy, dynamite, and gunpowder, and gasoline.
What's it?
And you know the thing that they have in common? They're cheap.
Said you were a man of few words.
Oh, I am. I'm only burning my half. All you care about is money. This town deserves a better class of criminal. And I'm gonna give it to them. Tell your men they work for me now. This is my city.
They won't work for free.
Why don't we cut you up into little pieces and feed you to your pooches? And then we'll see how loyal a hungry dog really is. It's not about money.
Here's what the glossy press releases never say out loud. The companies building these exact missiles and ships, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, have major operations and suppliers in Washington state. The state's defense footprints is enormous. Thousands of high-paying jobs, political contributions that flow both ways. Glusenkamp Perez isn't the only one. This is the pipeline politicians get to claim they support the troops and bring jobs home. Contractors get guaranteed billion-dollar contracts with costs plus protections. Taxpayers foot the bill with almost zero serious debate on priorities or waste. The bill even includes $20 billion in claimed savings and reforms. But those savings are dwarfed by the new spending. The reforms she fought for, right to repair, are real, but they are a tiny fig leaf on a $9 billion package. This isn't unique to one party or one member. Blue Dogs maintain Republicans and plenty of progressives all vote for these bills year after year. The military-industrial complex doesn't care about your team jersey. It just needs to vote.
U.S. dollar banknotes are made. Crafting paper money, also known as Federal Reserve notes.
Have you ever heard of the Consumer Price Index, or CPI? The CPI measures the average change in prices over time that consumers pay for a basket of goods and services. It's a key indicator of inflation, reflecting the cost of living in an economy. The CPI is released monthly by statistical agencies. Financial markets react strongly to CPI numbers, affecting stock prices and interest rates. For traders and investors, a higher than expected CPI can spell inflation fears, while a lower CPI number could suggest a stable or deflationary environment. Generally, a CPI between 2 and 3% is considered healthy. This crucial number impacts financial strategies and decisions every month.
Drop your thoughts below. Should we be spending $25 billion on new missiles while the rest of the budget is gutted? Or is it exactly what peace through strength requires? Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Next week, we're dissecting another sacred cow in the federal budget. Your money, their priorities. Comment below, subscribe, and thank you for all your support. Keep it